Om Shanti. Today Baba in the Murli says, you should share what Baba is telling you with everyone. But when you do that, don't go and just tell anyone that God has come. Yes? If you do that, what will happen? If you go and tell anyone, God has come, just like that, directly, what will happen? They will not believe you. You know, when someone told me, when I did not know Baba or I was not introduced, so they came and told me that, God has come on earth. And I said, yes. And the first person he found was you, right? So he didn't have anything better to do. So I was I didn't believe this thing at all. So Baba says, you have to be very tactful, because Jagdish Bhai ji always said this thing, that when you are trying to sell diamond in a market for stones and artificial jewelry, then nobody will believe that yours that looks like a diamond is a diamond, and other people's what looks like a diamond is not a diamond. So it's very difficult to convince somebody that yes, really God has come, because everybody says that I am God these days. So there are people who claim, humans who claim to be God, so then it becomes very difficult. So Baba says you have to be very tactful. And the way Baba suggests to approach this thing is, Baba says, start by telling everyone that you have two fathers. And I will relate to you an experience about this. So how I shared in a gathering that we have two fathers. So there was this program conducted by Indian Institute of Public Administration, and they had a delegation of some 20 around DG level dignitaries, and who had from the government of Tunisia. So they were a group of some 20 DG level officers who had come from Tunisia, and the Indian Institute of Public Administration thought that they should be introduced to Indian spirituality. So then I was asked to conduct a session there. So when I went there, I found that those brothers and sisters, they were mostly practicing Islam, and they spoke very little English and mostly French. And then they had to be introduced to spirituality. So then I don't know where to start. So I started where Baba asks us to start, which is by giving the introduction of two fathers. And then I asked them, so do you always think that you want food, water, air? So do you have this thought, I want to eat, I want water, I want air? So they said yes. So I said, okay, and who wants that? So they said the body. So I said, okay, fine. And then I said, do you have these thoughts? I need love, I need peace, I need happiness. So they said yes. So I said, who needs that? So they said, the body. So I said, will the body die if you don't give it peace, love, happiness? So not suddenly, right? So the body cannot survive without food, water, and air for long, but peace, love, happiness is not something that is directly required by the body. So that's something that you need. And then we have to think about who needs it. Then we come to the thought that The soul needs it. And then who will give this? So, when you have a physical parent, so you see in the world children who have physical parents and children who live the life of orphans. Yes. And then when somebody is an orphan, the first thought you have, who will provide for their body? So, who will give them what the body needs? So they have a requirement for food and shelter and warmth and fresh air and clean water, and who will do that? So then we understand that there is an importance of a physical parent who will do all this for us. And then when you see an orphan, you really feel fortunate that you had physical parents who provided for the body. Yes, and that's the time you understand the importance of a physical parent. And then Baba says that if you go to your father, the father of the body or the mother of the body, and you tell them that I am unhappy, or I am peaceless, or I don't understand how the world works and what is the purpose of life, then they are not in a position to answer these questions. Yes, so they cannot give you knowledge, they cannot answer your spiritual quest, they cannot give you peace and happiness. And I have an experience that my Lokik father was very aware that he doesn't know the way to be peaceful and happy. And he always told me that I cannot tell you how to be happy because I don't know that. I know how to earn money, I can teach you that. So he always told me that I am not capable of teaching you how to be happy because I don't know how to be happy. So I don't know how to teach you that, but I'll teach you how to earn money. And that's important. So you learn that from me. So physical parents can't teach you how to be happy or peaceful or contented or, not powerful in a situation, or they cannot teach you how to access the eternal source of power and purity. So Baba says that that's where you understand that you are a soul plus a body, and then just like you need physical parents, you need a spiritual parent also. And when you need something, there is a provision in the universe for that. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a need. So then, just like you have physical parents, you have a spiritual father also. And Baba says you have to introduce everybody to who their spiritual father is, and then tell them that they can have all that they need, the soul needs, from the spiritual father, Supreme Soul Shiv Baba. And then when you realize that you are not a spiritual orphan anymore, it's a matter of great happiness. Yes, and I remember there was this brother who came to the center once, and he was a businessman, and he was some 50 years of age according to the body. And then he was very stressed, highly stressed about business and whatever was happening in the business. And then he said that, I don't know, but I'm very stressed these days. And it's not like it's a 1 day or 1 month thing. I've been stressed for 5 years now. And I don't know, somehow that discussion bent towards discussing parents. And he said that, when I was a child, my father's presence was enough for me. So when I was a child and my physical father was there, his presence was enough for me. But now my father is there, but I don't feel any sense of power because of his presence. And I feel like I have nobody and I am responsible. And I have to take care of children as well as parents. And he said, I'm in that age where I really feel that I need somebody to take care of me. So you see, there is an age where you feel that you are the only one who is responsible. So responsible for physical children and responsible for physical parents also. So Baba says, you have to understand that you are not alone ever. You are a soul, and in your whole journey, the one you need and the one who is always with you is Baba. And Baba says, because you don't recognize him, because you don't have his introduction, because you've not invested enough to build a relationship with Baba, that's why this sense of being an orphan comes up when we are all souls, spiritual children of Baba. And Baba says, now you need to know me and then establish this relationship with me, which is there, but which you have forgotten, and that relationship has become a little seaward and dry. So Baba says, just remember me. And in this relationship, just like, with a physical parent, in that relationship, you get many things you can't point out. So Baba says, when you are connected with me, now with physical parents, you can connect physically also. But the only way to connect with Baba is through remembrance. And Baba says, in this remembrance, in this connection of the buddhi, I will give you all that you need, everything you need. And what does the soul need? The soul needs knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power. And Baba says, I will give you everything you need, but you have to build this relationship with me. And now what you have to do is, you have to start disconnecting mentally from the body and bodily relationships. And why do we have to disconnect mentally with body and bodily relationships? Because we have to shift the relationship with the body and bodily relationships from a seeker to a giver. Because everyone and everything around us is vibrating at low frequency. Every soul is in low consciousness. So Baba says, you don't be connected to them, otherwise you'll draw in their weakness. So now you disconnect mentally from there and connect with me, and then I will fill you with spiritual power, and then you can radiate it to everyone and everything. So this is Baba's message in the Murli today. Now I also want to say something here, that this relationship with Baba is not just a fancy idea. So, it's a very practical thing. Now, in Bhakti, we have had this practice where we say something, think something, and do something else. So you meet somebody in the temple, they look like the most religious people on earth. And then when they come out, they perform sins. Yes? And we have this sanskars, because we have all been in bhakti. So we have this sanskar where we think a lot, think very good, but do nothing or do the opposite. Okay, so we have to check that in Gyan also. Now you see that we listen to Baba and Baba's Murli, and Baba says, remember me, build a relationship with me. But then practically we have to check whether we are building a relationship with Baba or not. Now, today Baba also talks about not putting off what Baba says to the next time. So, when I was when I was reading some stuff on the net some other day, so there was this thing that most people say, most people today complain that my bad habit is the habit to procrastinate. So they say that I will do it tomorrow is a very bad habit. And when we come in Gyan also, so it's the same thing. So from tomorrow I'll do Amrit Vela. From tomorrow I'll be, reading the Murli 2 times. From tomorrow I'll start this. So Baba says, don't do this, because again that sanskar which did you a lot of harm in Kali Yuga is going to rob you of your fortune in Sangam Yuga also. And Baba says, aise kal karte kaal kha jayega. So, and then sometimes children also say that we don't know when Vinash is going to happen. So, I don't know whether, I'll do it before Vinash, and they think that Vinash will take a long time. So Baba says, okay, so we don't know whether destruction will take place in 1 year or 2 years or 10 years. But then the thing we have to be concerned about is not just destruction, but also leaving this body. So, okay, we understand that maybe destruction of the world is not happening in another 10 years, maybe, according to your logic and whatever, you feel that 10 years at least nothing is happening. But can you guarantee that about the body, about this body, that I'll be in this body for another 10 years? So Baba says that suppose I leave the body now, okay? Then if I take rebirth, so I will take minimum 13, 14 years to come to the awareness where I can again get connected with Gyan. Yes, only then can I start and continue my Purusharth from where I left. Until then I cannot do Purusharth. So Baba says, think about this thing. That if I leave the body now, then it will take so long, and I don't know whether there won't be destruction in another 13, 14 years. So I have to do whatever I can today, so that when I leave the body, I do not repent that I did not take advantage of the Sangam Yugi time Baba gave me. Yes, and this is why we will also understand one connection here. So, whenever a child, whenever we do some vikarma and we leave the body, then we are born as children. And when we are born as children, then at least 10 to 12 years of life, we are very vulnerable. Yes. And in that vulnerable position, the kind of circumstances we will be in or the kind of parents we will have is decided by what we do in this birth. Okay. Now, suppose I have done a lot of vikarma in this birth and I am born as a child in the next birth. Then in that vulnerability, I am in situations and circumstances and with parents who do not give me, the power or the conditions, life situations, which will make me better myself. They give me conditions which will make me worse. And this is how vikarma gets perpetuated. And then when I'm 14 or 15 and I start realizing what happened, I'm full of, I'm full of sorrow and I'm full of feeling like a victim. And then this carries forward. So Baba says, now that you are aware of what transpired and why you are here and what you need to do, do it. Don't postpone it. Because once this time is over and I end up being a child again, even if I leave the body and I'm a child, then whatever I have left unfinished will multiply in that stage. Because 10 years I'll be vulnerable and I'll not get conducive life situations if I have not done the work enough until I leave this body. So Baba says, understand the relevance of this time. This is the only time when you know how to shift the karmic balance. This is the only time when you know how to shift from being a creator of vikarma to a conqueror of vikarma. Yes? Until now, we only knew how to become a creator of vikarma. How do we become a creator of vikarma? By knowing that the only way to respond to any adversity is by getting upset, angry, distressed, loud. Yes, this is the way we responded to adversity. So that is how we were a creator of vikarma. And now Baba says, I am teaching you to be a conqueror of vikarma, vikarma jeet. What is that? So Baba says, now I am teaching you how to respond to adversity and not only be in a situation where you don't become upset, angry, irritable, but be in a situation where you are able to use somebody's anger to give them peace, to bring them to a realization where they want to change. If somebody is very angry and abusive and you are not only able to keep yourself stable but also radiate love and happiness to that soul, then that soul will come to a realization sooner or later where they'll be inspired to learn something from you and change themselves. So Baba says, now I'm teaching you this very valuable art of changing from a vikarm banane wala to a vikarma jeet, where I teach you how to not only not react to adversity, but on the contrary, use the adversity as an opportunity to create good karma. Yes. So if someone is, so let's take one example. There is nobody to help you at home. Okay. Then that's a situation. And then there is somebody to help you at home, but that person is inaccurate and imperfect. Okay, so they are not very good at what they do or whatever they are there for. So which one do you like better? So most people say that it's better I'm alone and I manage things on my own rather than having someone who does the opposite of what they are entrusted with. But you see that in the first case, you do everything on your own. Yes? In the second case, you do 80% of what you do in the first case, but along with that, you are also helping a soul transition himself or herself according to how you view the whole situation. Okay? So which one is a better bet? The better bet is the second one. Where you are with someone, at least they are doing something. Yes? Even if they are not doing 100% of what you need them to do, they are doing 10% of it. So 10% they are helping you, correct? And then they are also giving you an opportunity where, while doing what you would have anyways done in the first case, you are able to give that soul encouragement and learning and give them good vibrations and positive energy, and then help them also learn and uplift themselves. So Baba says, now I teach you how to not become a Vikarmi and become a Vikarmajit. In fact, use that opportunity to create good karma. So not seeing it as an imperfect situation, but as a situation where you can contribute because it is imperfect. So an imperfect situation is an opportunity to contribute. Do you see it like that? If you see it like that, then every imperfect situation will be a very big opportunity. And you see, Brahma Baba and Dadis and Mama, everybody had this art to make best from waste. So how did they earn all this punya karma? So everybody who comes to Baba is ordinary, and Baba sees it as an opportunity to make a deity out of them. And this is why the whole world sings Baba's praise and says he is God. And Baba says, you also see every imperfect soul as an opportunity to you do your contribution to convert them to a deity. Okay, so when you look at it like that, then you become Vikarmajit, and also, you become somebody who is creating punya karma all the time. Whenever you see an imperfect soul, an imperfect situation, don't see it as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity. Okay? Can you do that? How many of you will try to do that? Yes? And compare those two instances. The first one is not a good instance. In the first one, you have to do more work and no punya karma. And in the second work, lesser work and more punya karma. So it's always a good advantage. And this is why, in the yajna, in Baba's house, we always choose to, live with souls who have no blood relationships with each other and deal with sanskars, and then create a sangathan and do something, carry out Baba's task. Because when 5 souls come together, they do 50 times the task which one soul can do. So we used to learn this in the unitary method in school, and you understand that the power of a sangathan is much more. So when you understand that when you work in sangathan, then it's not only that the work gets done much more larger number of times multiplied, but also that you create punya karma by dealing with each other's sanskars and giving them the powers and virtues through your actions which uplift the other soul. Okay. Now in the blessing today, Baba says that when you have any type of consciousness of I, you have a burden on your head. However, when the Father is offering you to give all your burdens to Him, for you to simply dance and fly, then why do you question how will service take place, how will lectures be given? Simply consider yourself to be an instrument, connect yourself to the powerhouse and sit down. Do not be disheartened, and Baap Dada will automatically enable everything to happen. Consider yourself to be a child and master, and remain stable in your elevated stage, and you will continue to experience instant fruit. Now let's understand this. Now, sometimes when Baba says that give up the consciousness of I, consider yourself to be an instrument, and connect to the powerhouse and sit down, then let's take a situation where there is a student. So does the student not need to study and just connect with Baba and sit in the exam? Is it wise to do that? No. So you see, when you are in the exam hall, then you connect with Baba and sit down and write. But until that exam, what you do? You connect with Baba and study. Okay? Now you see, we have to do everything. If I am a businessman, I have to think about I have to study about the business, I have to do research, I have to think about it, I have to do everything. If I'm a student, I have to pay attention to my studies. But what Baba says in the Murli is, when there is a situation, suppose you are doing a business and then you have to give a presentation. Now you have prepared the whole presentation, you have nagged your brain, done the work, done everything. Now when you go to give the presentation, then what you have to do is, you have to be in a state which allows you to emerge all that you know. Okay? And how will that emerge? When your state of mind is completely peaceful, loveful, and powerful. So Baba says, when it is time for you to make the presentation, you do that in Baba's remembrance. But when it is time to present it, you present that in Baba's remembrance, not by thinking about what you created or what can go wrong or what are the problems that can come up. So instead of thinking about all the ifs and buts and burdening yourself with all that thought, you create a stable and calm state of mind, and then let what you know emerge in that state. So this is the importance of connecting with Baba. Another thing I want to talk about is, you see, there is this logical reasoning, there is this intelligence that we depend on, but there is also something called intuitive intelligence in a soul. Okay? And let's look at, you see that there are people who study what other people have taught. But there are some who create what other people study. So when a scientist does a research, what does he refer to? So he is not referring to something that has already been done. He is creating something new, that which nobody has ever done. So how does he come to that creation? What power does he access? So you see, the soul has every recording. The whole 5,000 years are there in the soul. And when a researcher does research, he accesses that knowledge in silence. So research requires deep silence. And then in that silence, whatever is there in the subconscious is able to emerge. Okay. Now, A person who does scientific research also sits in silence. A person who does social research also sits in silence. But when every soul sits in silence, what emerges from within is different for every soul. Why? Because the subconscious is filled with different things for different souls. So that emerges. So now there is a power in silence. And then there is a power in connecting with Baba. So when you connect with Baba, then not only the subconscious but the unconscious emerges. So that those things, those creative truths which will enable you to create heaven on earth will emerge when you connect with Baba. So Baba says, don't just rely on your study and your experience and other stuff. That will also emerge better in silence. But also rely on what this connection with Baba gives you, that is intuitive knowledge. Yes, so there are many people who do many things in life, and there are some who put too much attention into research and finding out what other people have done and said, and there are some who trust their instincts. And then Baba says, Brahmin souls who have a connection with Baba, when you try to use your intuitive ability, it will give you a lot of results. So read the whole Murli today and try to go over the blessing and try to understand it in this light and apply it. Om Shanti.